Okay, a quick explainer for what's going on. So this is an open source port of the old LXR 0.37 firmware. I'm not going to go into everything that firmware does and the differences between that and the ErikaSynth version, but I'll just take you through some of the slight changes. Everything that I've put into this is designed to work the way you would expect in the old DIY build LXR1 open source. I've added the faders and some other stuff that I'll get into. So I'm gonna pull up a all file first. This one. And I'll start that playing. So we've got the 2 extra bar buttons here. So for now, I've just assigned those to trigger whatever voice you've got selected. So and it'll record off of those trigger buttons also. Of course, we got the faders going. Sample loading like you could on the old unit very nicely. This is on a new Cortex M7 with, I think it's 2 megabytes of flash altogether. So the program takes about 250K, and there's 250K left for more program stuff. And then about 1.5 megabytes you get for samples. So I'm going to load up the samples that I have on the SD card. And I'm going to go over to a drum voice and samples. And I've also added in, so if you click into the parameter, it'll grab the name of the sample and it'll show it to you there. So nice little functional add. Okay, and the other thing that I've added is the old LXR had this weird thing where if you put a long sample into it, it would loop the sample. It wasn't supposed to do that. It was because the sample, the position playback index of the sample was stored as 16 bits. So if you had a sample longer than 2 to the 16 samples, the pointer would actually overflow and you'd end up getting a loop, which was kind of nifty, but I've changed that so that you can put longer samples into this. And there's another load option at the end called Samp Loop, which will load up a bunch of samples from a different folder called Loops on the SD card. So you stick your samples in a folder called Samples, and you stick your loops in a folder called Loops. And when we go back into our voice menu, so I've loaded up here the Adventure Kid single cycle waveforms. This is the Adventure Kid pack called Human Voice. So that's the waveform. I'm gonna make it a little bit. Yeah, there we go. Very human voice sounding. So that's that, and then the other thing you can do with that is I've added a few other global options here. So at the back of the global menu, there's also this thing, CPU use, so I got a little bit of headroom from the new processor, and then there's this thing, which is global oscillator interpolation. So what the hell is that for? So if I go back into this and so I've got that single cycle waveform playing, and I can go into my LFO. Let's make that oscillator waveform. That actually sounds like it might be on now. Let me see. here, the interpolation is off right now, so you hear like a stepping between the waveforms, but we can turn the interpolation on, and notice that the CPU has now gone up a little bit, but what that's doing is it's interpolating across all of our waveforms. Turn the rest of them down so you hear that a little bit better. So now you have a wavetable synth inside your drum synth that you can do drum synth stuff with. So yeah, that's a nice little addition there. So I should put the open source code for this up over the weekend. It's all pretty much done. If you want, you can jump on the Discord and update the image file is there. You just update it like you would normal firmware for the LXR02. And yeah, I'll keep working on some additional features, but I thought this was a good place to stop. Everything pretty much works the way it would for the old LXR kit project. It should be file intercompatible with the older LXR stuff, and yeah, I'll add some new stuff over time as things go. Anyway, yeah, have fun with that.